Turning to the Inspector General report on James Comey. That new report shows that the fired FBI director violated bureau policies during his time at the White House, working as the head of the FBI under President Trump by drafting, leaking, and retaining memos of private conversations with Trump in hopes of seeing a special counsel appointed. The report goes on to say by not safeguarding sensitive information obtained during the course of his FBI involvement and by using it to create public pressure for official action, Comey set a dangerous example for the over 35,000 current FBI employees. Joining me now, Washington Examiner chief political correspondent, Fox News contributor Byron York. But Byron, there's something even more disturbing in this report about that initial meeting between Comey, the briefing by Comey of Trump. Explain it for people.
Well, it tells us a lot about what has turned out to be one of the most important moments of the whole Trump-Russia affair. January 6th, 2017, Trump is still the president-elect. The intelligence chiefs, Comey, Brennan, Clapper, go to Trump Tower, and the job is to brief the president-elect on the results of their investigation into Russian interference in the 2016 election. So that's fine. But afterwards, according to a prearranged plan, they all leave the room. Comey stays alone with President-elect Trump. And Comey tells the president-elect about the dossier allegation that in 2013, Trump was in a Moscow hotel room. There were prostitutes, kinky sex acts, and Russian spy cameras captured it all. So this was this completely unfounded, never proved allegation that was in the dossier, and Comey kind of springs it on him. Now, Comey has always said that he did that to just inform Trump that this story was out there, it was embarrassing, he ought to know it, maybe it's going to get in the press sometime. Now we learn that it was actually part of the whole crossfire hurricane Trump-Russia investigation. Comey had a team waiting for him afterwards. They had pre-planned this conversation. He had a secure laptop waiting for him in the car, and he started writing up the meeting as soon as he got out. There was a secure video teleconference that had been arranged for him to meet with top officials and crossfire hurricane leaders right afterwards, hoping that perhaps Trump would have given them something unknowingly of investigative value in that probe.
It really is astonishing, is it not, Byron, that this was, we suspected this, but now it's in black and white.
Yeah, and Comey in his memoir says that he told the president directly, quote, "We are not investigating you, sir," when in fact he had his team of investigators waiting to debrief him right afterwards. So, I mean, you can see why Trump was angry about this. The other thing is, from Trump's perspective, first time a president-elect meets the head of the FBI face-to-face, and what does the FBI chief tell him? "We know about you and those prostitutes in Moscow." Trump really figured something funky was up.
What, Byron, in terms of Andy, I wanted to point this out. Andy McCarthy was on earlier, and he said that a couple of years ago, when Comey referred to the memos as recollection recorded, Andy said, "I knew then something was amiss because that's a term used in the federal rules of evidence, and unless when you're writing evidence, recording evidence to be used in a criminal trial at some point later down the road." But I want to put this in perspective with what is going on, and where does this go from here in terms of truly uncovering the predicate of this investigation, which John Durham is looking at, a FISA abuse? And do you think ultimately, is there any way to know if Jim Comey does pay a price for this behavior, because he's not being charged by the Justice Department, indicted by the Justice Department for what's in this current IG report?
Right. Now, he wasn't indicted. The Inspector General sent a criminal referral about leaking classified information, and the decision was that Comey had not directly leaked classified information. He didn't leak it directly to the media. Some of this information was classified after the fact of Comey writing this stuff, and the Justice Department decided it wasn't a case they wanted to make. Now, as far as the bigger picture here, it was a little surprising that the Inspector General released this separate report on the Comey memos, because for a while there we thought it was going to be part of the big report that we're still waiting on about the origins of the Trump-Russia investigation. That, you know, we were thinking about getting it in June and in July, and now August is over. Looks like maybe mid to late September. Not sure. But the bigger question, the biggest question, I think, in this is it hopefully will tell us to what extent the Obama Justice Department, the law enforcement and intelligence agencies were actually spying on the Trump campaign, and whether it was justified. We know that they got a warrant to wiretap Carter Page. We know that they used an informant named Stephen Halper. We know that they sent an undercover agent with the alias Azra Turk to London to talk to George Papadopoulos. And the question is that it? Was there more? What was going on here? And we're hoping that the fuller IG report will tell us about that.
If there wasn't a predicate, a legitimate predicate, and this campaign was being spied on with no other reason other than to try and change the election, then what?
Well, that's a deeply disturbing conclusion. And look, we already know that in the 2016 campaign, both major candidates were under FBI investigation. And you can say, well, maybe those were two squirrely candidates. But on the other hand, maybe the FBI was getting too involved in political cases. And I do think once we finally find out everything that was done, whether there was, as you say, an adequate predicate for doing it, we need to figure out what role the FBI should and should not be playing in these things.
And just to be clear, I was just asking that question. I was just posing that. I didn't mean to draw a conclusion on that. But that's the ultimate question that has to be answered. Was this going on, and to what extent? The spying on the Trump campaign, and why? And what was the basis of it, as you pointed out? Here's a question, Byron, and I don't know if you can answer it, but I've asked this all along. The Wall Street Journal editorial board wrote an editorial when President Obama appointed Jim Comey as the head of the FBI, basically saying, don't do it. Here's the man's record. He is only trying to burnish his own reputation as the biggest Boy Scout in the country. The Journal wrote an editorial saying to President Trump, like, you're going to regret keeping this guy on as the FBI director. Who in the White House, who advised this president to keep Jim Comey in that job? His behavior, whether it was with Frank Quattrone, the investment bank, or whether it was his influence on what was done to Scooter Libby during the Valerie Plame issue, his reputation was well known as looking out for one person and one person only, and that's himself. How was he still in the administration?
That is a huge mystery. I mean, there were people during the transition. There were people in the Trump transition who were urging the president to fire Jim Comey. And by that, they mean fire immediately, like take the oath of office, step down, fire Comey, and then get back up and give the inaugural address. Do it really, really soon. And what they said was, if you wait months and there'll be, investigations or issues that arise, then it'll look like you're firing Comey for, going after you. And that's exactly what happened. So it clearly would have been better in retrospect to fire Comey immediately. And you remember Democrats were still extremely angry for what Comey did, not only on July 5th of 2016 when he basically declared Hillary Clinton guilty but not indicted in the email case, but especially on October 29, 2016, just before the election, when he brought that case back up again, really, really angered Democrats.
Again, because he's looking out for he's looking out for one person and one person only. He's not looking out for liberals or conservatives or Democrats or Republicans. He's looking out for Jim Comey. Byron, good to see you. Byron York.
Thank you, Dagan.
Take care.